All right. Well, thank you for taking the time to watch this. My name is Brent Gove, and the webinar you just saw was me. I'm here live, actually, in Northern California, and I'm going to bring on John Sai and Rick Jiha. We'll start with John. I'm going to interview John first. And basically, these are two big stars in real estate. John's up in British Columbia, Canada. He's in Vancouver. And John, pleasure to have you on today.
Well, it's great to see you, Brent.
You betcha. So now before I ask you about your background, how long you've been in real estate, and why eXp, because you have an amazing background. You're a very successful agent. You're up there in Vancouver. What's your average sales price up there?
Benchmark price just about $1 million.
I love it. Just like everybody down here in the States, right? So you're spoiled, man. We're all jealous. Sacramento's like, 375. So we have to sell like 3 homes to every one of yours. That's why I'm in a polo shirt here, and you're in a nice suit from Nordstrom. We're bottom feeders in Northern California. So good to have you here, John. Now, let me ask you some questions. How long have you been in real estate?
14 years.
Okay. And then you really locked in a long time ago with the Mike Ferry organization. You became a kind of a poster child, a star within the Mike Ferry organization. I'm asking you to brag a little. You did quite well with the Mike Ferry organization, right?
Yeah, I was there for 11 years, and I think I'm like the poster child because I do more than other Mike Ferry agents do in terms of following the system.
Right.
And I listened to Mike, kind of like a teacher's pet. So
and you did what he said, and voila, it worked, right?
Yeah.
It's like Weight Watchers. If you follow the plan, Weight Watchers work. All diets work. So what kind of success did you reap? What did you build? How many homes were you selling a year? Before you saw eXp, where was your business? What did it look like?
So my business at its highest unit-wise was 149. And that was a year when we hit just over $1 million GCI. And my highest grossing year was about 1.48 million. And that, funny enough, it only took 99 transactions to get there. So my average commission actually went up. And so that was right before I joined eXp.
Wow. So why would a guy as successful as you, having the year before making $1.489 million, why eXp? I mean, we have so many agents that are highly successful, keep flocking to this company. What was it you saw in eXp that appealed to you?
Well, when I was doing that was one of the, it was 5 years in a row hitting just about 100 transactions, and I was burnt out because being a Mike Ferry agent, I'm not a team leader. I'm more of a rainmaker, grinder type of style. So I'm talking to 50 people a day, working 12, 14 hours, 5-6 days a week. And I was looking to build some equity for my future. And, my wife got pregnant end of 2017, right? So then I was like, okay, well, since I'm having a kid now, I can't be working 12, 14-hour days, 6-7 days a week. I want to be able to pull back, but I wanted to have something to show for, right? We tell our clients to buy homes instead of rent homes, and yet we're renting the company that we work for. And so I actually asked my former broker, which was a boutique company, I asked them, hey, would you give me some equity to the company, or would you sell me a franchise so I can take this thing to 1,000 agents? I promise I can do it.
How did that go?
No, it was a very quick and short answer.
Yeah, he wanted to own the whole kingdom. He didn't want to give you a little slice. All you were asking for was a little slice of the cheese,
just a little
piece
bit
of the pie. So, and then the result was you started probably opening your mind to other opportunities.
Yeah, I actually talked to my partner about opening up a Remax brokerage, and we had been in talks for about a year, since end of 2017. And when I we were thinking, okay, let's start a brokerage so we can get some equity, some revenue share from the agents that we bring in, and then a lead generation platform to feed our agents. Great. So those are the three things why I wanted to start a brokerage. And then he brought to me eXp, and I said, okay, well, what is this thing? And he said, well, you know what? Without having to start a brokerage, you get all the three things that you want: revenue share, equity, and lead gen. Isn't that what you want, John? I said, no way. What's the catch?
By the way, that was
Right.
Chris.
So
Oh, no, it wasn't Chris Bear. Your sponsor's out of Denver, right?
my sponsors, Steve Merritt from Chicago.
Chicago. Okay, yeah. And then he talked to
Yeah.
Chris Bear. Gotcha. Okay. So he ran those by you and you thought it was like, what's the catch? And
Yeah, I said, what's the catch? Is this like sustainable? And, you know, I had to do my own research. I watched like a million YouTube videos. I watched you a bunch of times, watched Gene a bunch of times. And then I actually, you know, had the pleasure of talking to you one time. And I talked to Gene, I talked to Rob, and I said, wow, these guys are legit. I mean, they're just nice guys. They're just down to earth, nice guys, you know? And
how
you
long
know,
have you been with eXp
without
now? How long?
15 months.
Okay. And how many agents were on the John side team when you came? You made $1.489 million in income the year before you came to eXp. How many agents did you have helping you do that?
I had two agents
Okay, so a
and two
very small boutique team. And then you went to
yeah.
eXp and saw the leverage piece and the rev share, the stock, the leads. So how many agents have you personally enrolled for eXp? Not your organization, but you personally, how many have you sponsored since you've been here in 15 months?
32 personally sponsored.
Nice. And
And
then how many in the organization?
total group is 204.
Nice, nice. Did you ever think 17 months ago, prior to eXp, to understanding how we work, that 17 months from then you would have over 200 agents and brokers throughout Canada and some in the US selling homes and create? Did you ever think that was going to be the case so quick?
Actually, my goal was 300 by the end of 1 year. Right.
Wow. So you're behind.
I am behind. And I'm grateful. I'm not pissed off about it, Brent. Believe me, I'm super grateful to have this opportunity. This is a gift. Like, this is a gift for me, not working, you know, 12, 14-hour days, 6 days a week, and be able to see the light at the end of the tunnel. As a realtor, you know this, Brent, it's a gift.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Awesome. I love your attitude. Well, man, thank you for being on today. Any parting words you want to share to any of the guests who are watching this? Word of wisdom, advice back when you weren't with eXp? Any advice for them? Just what would you say?
If you're scared, do it. If you're about to jump, jump. Stop waiting. I waited for 4 months. I could be at 300 right now, right?
Right. But you will
just stay positive, especially in this climate right now. And just stay positive. And this is why, you know, I love getting a call from you. I get all the positivity, and there's not a lot of that out there, right? Join our group, be with us, be in communication. We're gonna have a lot of fun, and we're gonna make a lot of money.
Love it. Well, John, two things. Number one, we did the Brent Gove team meeting I've been doing since 1999 for over 20 years. We did it virtually. We did it live today via Zoom, and it's going viral on the internet right now. People are like going, that was awesome. So we're going to make it available to you. It's going to be posted in Workplace. It's going to be posted all over the place. So get your hands on that. Share it with your agents. It was awesome. You would not know we were in any kind of a situation. It was like business as usual. Here's how we're getting it done. Everyone's like, I am so inspired. So that happened this morning, 10 to 11 Pacific. Final question. I did not prepare you for this, but I'm going to spring it on you. Then we're going to go to Rick Jiha, who's in the screen here. He's the world's most interesting man. and a dear friend of mine. I love him. Just look at him. You just want to talk to him. John, you and I look boring compared to him. I'm sorry. I know that's not very nice. You're my guest, but we look boring. He looks interesting. So, but John, I'd say that fun. John, 1 year from now. So you've taken 15 months and built over 200 agents and brokers. I suppose you're in 2 or 3 provinces of Canada, right?
Yeah.
And you probably even have some agents in the state sides. Do you have anybody down in the U.S.? Okay, states. Yeah. Where do you see yourself in a year? 1 year from now, I'd imagine you'll have over 40 enrolled listed on your front line, but how many in the John Sy organization? How many do you think will be? If you could move forward, where do you see yourself 1 year from today?
1,000.
Really, 1,000? Wow.
Yeah.
That is the power of this. And of course, that should make you, the $750,000 residual, passive income outside of your sales. You're still selling homes, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that'll help with the budgeting though, when you have an extra 60,000 a month coming in.
Absolutely.
Every month.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, John, we're proud of you. I'm going to switch gears. I know you have a 1:30. You got to jump on in 11 minutes. If you want to stick around and listen to the World's Message.
I want to listen to Rick.
I would recommend, yes. Yeah. We're going to bring Rick online. He unmuted his mic, I think. Or yeah, you got to unmute your mic. You're still muted, and boom, he's on. So Rick, let me introduce you real quick. This is Rick Jiha, my dear friend from the San Francisco, San Jose Bay Area. He and his wife, Casey, I've met with him and his wife in Napa for dinner prior to eXp. He is a world-class real estate trainer, owned multiple franchises. And I know 100 trainers. He is my favorite speaker in the world of real estate. No offense to anybody else out there. No offense. He is my favorite. He rings my bell, man. When he speaks, I'm listening. He's like E.F. Hunt in real estate. So, Rick, thank you, and welcome to the big show. We're glad you're on. Would you tell everybody how long you've been doing real estate? Maybe share some of your accolades I didn't mention. I'm asking you to brag a little so people know a little bit who you are, if you don't mind.
No problem. I first want to say it was great to hear John. I'm a big fan of John's. I don't know him that well, but I got the opportunity to coach Steve Merritt for a while and got to know a lot about John through Steve. And John, very impressed with what you've done in your past at such a young age. Congratulations. And happy to be on and share with you at the same time. So yeah, this May 15th, Brent, will be my 40th year selling houses. That's the good news and the bad news. I'm sure John is not going to be at 40 years by that time. He'll be retired with his rev share. Yeah, I had at one point owned 9 Keller Williams Realty offices. My wife and I used to say 7, and then one day I actually sat and counted them. I had Grass Valley, Yuba City, Modesto, Stockton, Tracy, Antioch, Brentwood, Pleasanton, and Fremont. 9 of them, and it was some insanity, and I lost most of my money with 7 of them. 2 of them, Fremont and Pleasanton, held out well during the downfall, but the other 7 were in really disastrous times to be leasing buildings and owing somebody rent every month and salaries and trying to keep the doors open, and literally lost all of that. Between that and a divorce, I lost all the houses I owned and almost all of my retirement and most of my liquid assets. So in 2010, my 30th year in the business, I was essentially starting over with a credit score of about 490. And as usual, whenever things got rough, the one thing I knew, like John, is I knew how to sell houses. So I got back to selling houses. I was Keller Williams #1 or 2 speaker and trainer for about 10 or 11 of the 14 years I was there. And we had a falling out in 2012. So in 2015, I left, and amidst them telling me I couldn't coach and speak to other real estate companies. So
I'm so grateful they did that too. I'm sorry.
Oh no, that's all right.
You'll probably still be there. Thank you, Keller Williams, for not sharing the Rick Jiha love.
Yeah. So I left, and then about a year and a half later, I got a call from you. I had been I just stuck my license in a small mom and pop shop that was run by a friend of mine. I just wanted to be left alone. I was fed up large companies. I basically felt screwed. I know now today to look at everything that happens as an opportunity for a miracle to come around the next corner. That's when eXp came around the corner, and
What'd that call look like when I called you?
Oh
What
man,
was that like?
I was like, Brent, no thanks, dude. Just I gave you the Heisman. Like, no thanks. And you go, oh, so you've seen the webinar, Rick, and you don't. And I said, what webinar? And that question right there was for you like candy to a baby. You were just all over that. You were like, how can you be saying no? Man, I don't care if you say no, but don't say no when you don't know it. If you haven't watched the webinar, you don't know it. And then Brent did something that I'm to this day very impressed with, is he didn't say, I'll send you the webinar, you watch it and I'll get back to you. He set up a time right then when we'd watch the webinar with him on the phone, meaning I couldn't get off without him watching it. So, and he said, the one thing he did, he said up the beginning, he goes, remember, if you don't get to the last slide, you don't get the value. And the last slide was the revenue share calculator. And I said 2 words when I got done watching. I said, I'm in.
Yep.
So
I remember that. It was a text message. I was like, yeah, that was awesome.
You know, so yeah, and then
hung up on the webinar, and before I could call you, you texted me. Yeah.
Yep. So yeah, it's been amazing. Everything's changed for me. I mean, I had just started coaching with a large international coaching company, and so my team was starting to rock and roll a little bit, and I was starting to feel less pissed off about what had happened and more excited about the future. So my team back then was like 5 or 6 of us. Now there's 13 of us. My sales, the Rick G. Hart Real Estate team. Because of my past as a speaker and a trainer with Keller Williams, I had several people pick up as soon as they saw me change on Facebook to eXp Realty. I started getting phone calls, and my first 5 or 6 recruits were all people that called me. I didn't even have a chance to call anybody, and it's been John said it perfectly. It's been a gift that I cannot. I get on my hands and knees every night and say thank you for it.
So we'll wrap up with a couple questions, but what appeals to you about this gift? Because you've done exceptionally well. In fact, let's tell them, how many people have you sponsored and how big is your organization now?
I personally sponsored 44 people, and my organization is just under 1,300.
So John, he rang the bell at 1,000, and he's on his way to 2,000 and 20,000.
Yeah, our goal was 2020 for 2020. So
nice. There you go. Over 2,000. It all fits nicely.
Yeah.
So you've been incredibly successful. You have over 1,300 agents and broker associates across. How many states are you across now, Rick?
You know, I'm not James, and I haven't counted, but my wife's been paying attention. I think we exceed 30 states and three provinces in Canada. And nice. I'll do a better job of knowing.
No, that's fine. I just wanted a rough idea. No problem there.
Yeah.
And so, what was it that after owning 9 franchises and after doing everything you've done, what was it that kind of rang your bell about eXp? I know what it was for me, but what was it for you, Rick? What appealed to you?
Okay, well, the most truthful thing I can say about myself, Brent, and I loved what John said. I'm so glad I got to hear what John said, was I am not a visionary. I'll tell you that all day long. But if you give me a vision, I will go after it like nobody's business if I see it. Like when I met Gary Keller, I'm like, what a freaking visionary. I'm going after it with him, right? And then when you introduced me to eXp and Glenn Sanford, I'm like, what visionaries? I'm going after it, right? But did you hear what John said that was really visionary on his part? Leveraged income, right? Equity and lead generation, right? And I looked at those 3. I said, outside of me, remember, I had nothing left. So first thing I looked at eXp was an ability to build something. Like my wife and I were saying, it's our last hurrah. We're going to kick some ass and finally be able to stop freaking selling real estate, right? So now, I mean, I'm doing 1 million plus in commissions. We got a great team, and I'm doing less and less because we're building that leverage into our team. But this was something we didn't believe we'd have another chance at. So between the stock awards and the revenue share. But I also looked at things like, well, I'm going to contribute a lot less to the company, right? So I'm keeping more of my money. There's that, right? And I was looking
cap of
at
16.
the low cap, the low E&O insurance, like everything was paying attention to me, like was screaming at me, like everybody's going to love this. But I thought, look at this. Today, I have more agents in my organization than I had in all 9 Keller Williams franchises, and I have absolutely not one penny of overhead.
So
right?
let's
I don't have rents. I don't have salaries. I don't have responsibilities. I'm not paying brokers to cover the liability of them. I'm like, I mean, if I had a big cigar, I'd be sitting back smoking and going, I'm a fat cat.
I'm a baller. I'm a baller.
Yeah.
Hey, real quick, I want to hit on that. We only got a couple minutes left. When you finally got out of your last Keller Williams, you told me a story. I don't know if you could share it publicly about how much you owed in unpaid rent. This was the horrific downturn from, it started in California, Northern California. It started in 2005. Summer of 2005 ran till April 2011. Went on for 6 years. But can you share that story a little bit, or is that too private?
Yeah. Mostly in those 7, not the Pleasanton and Fremont, but those other 7, we had about 1.9 million in unpaid rent by the time we were backing out. And that wasn't on all of them, but that was on the main 4. And then we were, me and my partners were like, where are we going to come up with that money? And they were large corporate property owner landlords. So that was what took so many years. December 30th, 2018, I paid off my final bit of debt to the entire world between KW, IRS, and everything. And
wow.
December 31st of 2018, my wife looked at me and said, well, you've got a $323 car payment. You feeling good about that? And that was just amazing.
Now, I want to put this in perspective. Lions Corporation in Sacramento has been around for 50 years.
Yeah.
The family's multi-millionaires. They have about 1,300 agents and brokers, maybe 1,100 now. They've actually gone to about 1,100 last I heard. You have 1,300. Now, Lions has been at it for 50 years. How long have you been doing this, Rick? 10 years, 8 years? How long have you been with eXp to be able to create this 1,300 plus organization with no overhead?
3 years and 2 months.
Wow, that is awesome. And as I recall, you didn't exactly pound it right out the gate. You were distracted with other things in your life. So you might have actually, you might have, I think you took about 7, 8 months to really kind of sink your teeth into it, as I recall, right?
Absolutely, yeah. And then I've had some ups and downs where I stop, pay attention to my sales team and not pay attention, and of course, I don't know if you know, but the last 3 months I've been really going after it. So
that's awesome. I have noticed you.
Yeah.
You personally enrolled like 4 or 5 agents in I think February or something.
Yeah, I've enrolled 9 frontline in the last 2.5 months. So yeah.
Johnny, there you go, baby. The gas for the bonfire. Gas for the bonfire. Everybody watching. So, man, by the way, when we clicked over this, not one person has hopped off. Not a single person. That's how interesting the 2 of you are. So you guys are great. I love it. I've been here 3 years and 4 months. And those 40 people I listed, I look at enrolling or sponsoring agents. Everyone's like, I don't know if I'm a recruiter. You guys, when I was at RE/MAX and people go, how do you like it? I'm like, I love it. It's great. They would join. I don't know if you call that recruiting. When I was at Keller Williams for 8 years, people go, well, how do you like it at Keller Williams? You left RE/MAX. Why? I tell them why. Do you like it? Yeah. Do you think they talk to me? Sure. They joined. I had over 100 join RE/MAX in 12 years. Got this much for it.
Yeah.
And then I had 55 join Keller Williams without trying. It's because I liked it. I was verbal about it.
Yeah.
And then that led to hundreds in what's called my Keller Williams profit sharing tree, which was last few years was making me like $700 a month. And I was grateful for it. Wasn't going to change my life. I won't change your life. But then what happens is I come to eXp, been here 3 years and 4 months, and I list 40 agents while listing 60 homes. I listed 40 agents. I've never done that before where I actually tried to do it. And then that turned into literally thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands. All I have over you, John Sai and Martiha, is time. For whatever reason, the timing was right for me. And when I started 3 years and 4 months ago, I mean, I hit the ground running. and it's been a wild ride. Today we have over 10,000 agents and brokers in our organization, over 1/3 of a publicly traded company on the NASDAQ. It's been amazing. But we have so many wildly successful agents like on this screen. So keep checking out eXp. John and Rick, I want to thank you for being here today and being on. Rick, where do you see yourself? You've got 1,300 agents. Where do you see yourself in a year? Oh, you told me 2020.
Well, 2020 by the end of this year, and then our goal for the end of 2021 is 6,000. So
that's pretty awesome. Yeah. And how many commercial office leases will you have?
I'll have 0.
That put a smile on its face.
Yeah.
I love you both. And everybody watching this, we are going to do a national webinar addressing the world. US, Canada, Australia, and the UK. Those are the 4 countries eXp's in. It's this Saturday morning, 9 a.m. with Gene Frederick, Rob Flick, Scott Lewis. These guys are super mega successful. Myself. And we have the president of eXp on that international webinar talking about what's going on, how we're thriving.
And that's 9 a.m. California time, by the way.
9 a.m. Pacific, 12 p.m. Eastern, 11 Central. And by the way, if you didn't hear, eXp today was announced by Inman News #1 spot for the 500 largest independent brokerages in North America. Of 500, eXp just ascended to #1, blew by Redfin and Compass like they were standing still. This is awesome. We love you guys. We want you with us. And John, Rick, thank you for being on today. I appreciate it. Have a great weekend. We'll see you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.